Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a milestone episode, episode 50. With your love and support, we have reached 50 episodes with different stories, different perspectives, different learnings about entrepreneurship. And on this special occasion, the host has been put on the hot seat. I have been interviewed by a group of people asking me questions one by one, and the panel is being moderated by Bharat Nangia, a very experienced entrepreneur himself. In this episode, I share my story, my journey, and my learnings. So please do let me know your feedback about this. Let me know your feedback about the Be Your Own Boss podcast. Let me know how we can improve and how we can make the Be Your Own Boss podcast better for you. So here's episode 50 of the Be Your Own Boss podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Be Your Own Boss. And our guest for this milestone episode is none other than Sachin Acharya, the founder of Be Your Own Boss podcast. Welcome, fellow entrepreneurs. Today, we gather as a collective force, ready to embark on a remarkable journey. It is time to put our host on the hot seat, uncovering the path that led him to create this inspiring platform. His probing questions have brought our innermost thoughts and lessons, guiding us through 49 insightful episodes. Let me first welcome none other than Srinivas Mudalkar, aka Maggie, who's the founder of Avishkar Consultants, a structural audit company based in India. He was one of the first five episodes, I think number two and three, to be interviewed. So, stage is all yours, Maggie.
Thank you, thank you. That was a nice introduction. I enjoyed. And This is Srinivasan. As Sachin says, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So, Sachin, it is such a wonderful thing for me today. We are childhood friends. We know each other for such a long time, and it gives me so much pleasure that You gave me a chance to be in between such wonderful, inspiring people. Thank you for that. I hope everyone has seen Sachin's graduation ceremony, which I have pinned that video in my YouTube, my app, and I showed that to every one of my colleagues and everyone I ever met. So Sachin, again, it's a rainy day in Mumbai today, and I am interviewing the same Sachin Acharya. That's a great feeling for me. It's really it gives me immense pleasure to be here with you. And so going ahead, I got some few questions. Okay, so you have interviewed people from all age groups, like from they might be first generation entrepreneur or maybe second or third generation entrepreneur. So they are from all age group, right from their late 20s or maybe their 20s to their 50s and 60s. You might have noticed something is common over there. So if you can elaborate that, what are those common things? So it will be helpful for me and even for others that okay, I'm on the right path unknowingly, or I should be on that path. So that is one of my question which I would like to ask you.
Thank you, Maggie. That's a wonderful question. Having interviewed up to 49 entrepreneurs so far, and like you said, of all age groups, I think the age doesn't matter at all. The age doesn't matter, the background doesn't matter, the context doesn't matter. When it comes to this one common factor that I've noticed across the board among all the entrepreneurs, and that one factor is the courage to take action. Each one of you have at certain points in your life taken a bold step, And I'm inspired by this one act the most, which is the courage to take action. There were uncertainties, there were a lot of questions in your head, and like they say, the definition of courage is uh, not the lack of fear, but to have the fear and still do it anyways. You all were all afraid at certain points and you all still did it anyways, and this is why I believe this is the most important aspects of entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Awesome, Sachin. That's great.
Yes. So, Sachin, here is this question is addressed to you by me. Thank you, Sachin, for giving me the opportunity to moderate this session and post my question to you. Do share your story. Why you accepted this unique concept of having all the entrepreneurs interview you for this 50th special episode. Well, what motivated you to embrace this idea, and what do you hope to achieve through these interviews with your fellow entrepreneurs?
Thank you, Varaji, for that wonderful question. It's a deep question, and I'm gonna take a moment here to share my story in a short, as short as possible here, a quick story of 43 years, but in probably 43 seconds. I come from a very humble background. They say Slumdog Millionaire. There's a movie called Slumdog Millionaire, right? I am the literal slumdog millionaire. We used to live in the near slums of the outskirts of Mumbai, and we never had a house of our own. We never stayed in one house for a long time. I mean, 1 year was a long time to stay in one house because we always stayed in rented houses and we kept moving. But today, by God's grace, I am a real estate investor. So things have turned around quite a bit here. But in my journey, right from childhood, when I saw the poverty around me and the dark days around me, there was one sentence that kept me on my toes and that kept me, gave me inspiration. Was from a gentleman called Rajan, and Rajan told me that Sachin, don't look at the darkness around you. Look forward to that one bright day and keep working towards it. And I did that. I kept looking forward to that one bright day. And that one bright day meant for me that I should be in a position to inspire others in the similar people in similar situations like I was, and they should have that hope that if Sachin can do it, so can I, and if others can do it, so can I. And fast forward to many years now, in the recent time, I realized that it's not just my story that can inspire people. There are hundreds of stories around us. All of us have a story. Each one of us have an inspirational story here, and it's only a matter of how we bring it to the world and inspire others. So, talking about entrepreneurship in particular, the question was that how can we start a business while someone is working and running have a day job, running a family, you have your expenses. So it's a disruption. On starting an entrepreneurship, I mean, you're starting your entrepreneurship journey, starting your own business, is by definition a disruption in the flow. And the question is, how do you do that? And there are so many people who have already done it. All of you have done it. Each one of you have done it, right? And my thought there was to let's capture those stories of how you transition your how you got into your entrepreneurial journey and share that with the world. And this is my way of inspiring others, and that's what started that's what gave birth to Be Your Own Boss.
Wow, what can I say? What a comparison, what an antidote. We all think that our journeys have the most struggle, but when we hear others, we are truly inspired that each one of us at some point of life have struggles, have challenges, which may be of a different nature. Thank you, Sachin, for sharing this. And it would be very nice for our viewers to see this vulnerable side of yours. So let us move. Let me invite Neha Sahu from the Be Your Own Boss episode number 34. Neha is an author of One Vulnerable Dot and founder of the Her World Welfare Foundation. She is making a profound impact on women's life through her words, art, and the establishment of her NGO. Welcome, Neha.
Thank you so much, Bharatji, for this introduction and the warm welcome. Happy Sunday to you all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as per the Be Your Own Boss. So I have known Sir since for 2018, and since but then I have seen him as a very profound mentor of mine. He has been an integral part of my journey. So I have seen the success and how is he growing in his life. But I would, as we discussed in the beginning, more than the success story, the failure story is what inspires the most. So I know the success stories I see every day, but I would like to know your failure story. The biggest failure you have had in your life.
Yes, Neha, thank you so much for that question. And let's talk about the failures. Yes, you're right that as much as we learn from our successes, we learn a lot from our failures as well. And my failure has been in the journey of my career. There was at one point I was into sales, and I made a terrible mistake. That was my failure as a salesman. I shouldn't have done that. The trajectory of life could have been completely different if I had not done that mistake. And that mistake was that it was a very small organization, and we were a group of about 10 to 12 salesmen selling door to door, and we were getting commission for our sales only after the sale was completed. And we would like take orders, come back to the office, and then place the orders, and once the products were delivered and the sale was complete, only then we would get our commission, which was absolutely fair, right? As an entrepreneur today, you would say yes, absolutely fair. The salesman should get their commission once the sale is complete, otherwise it's just an order. But I was of the opinion that if I'm working, if I'm getting the order, my part is complete and I should get my commission. And I demanded that I should get the commission on just the basis of orders. And I got everyone. Now you see, here's where leadership is important, but it is if you're in a leadership position, it's important that you lead the team towards the right thing, and I led the team towards the wrong thing. I got the entire force was those 10, 12 people were under my leadership, okay, unofficial leader, and I led everyone to demand for it, and we all quit at the same time, resignation. I think that was a terrible mistake. But the lesson that I learned from that is that if you're in a leadership position, you have to be very, very careful about the decisions that you take and where you lead your team. I led the team towards a wrong decision. We all quit the job. The company had to start all over again. So I gave a terrible blow to that entrepreneur who had, he had worked hard really to build that team, and I blew it off all in one day. So that was my mistake, and I've learned from that that we have to be careful as a leader where we lead our team.
That's a really wonderful learning from your failures. So I have one more question. That what is your biggest learning in your entire life?
My biggest learning is more of the more on the emotional side, more on the mental strength side. I believe the strength of character And knowing deep within us what we are doing is right, if we are on the right path, is the most and that's my and because of these mistakes like this that I just said, there have been other mistakes as well, but it's because of these mistakes that I've learned that deep within us we have to be right and do the right thing, and from doing that right thing we get the courage to stand and stand against all odds and still move forward.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering this. It's really inspiring.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Neha, for these wonderful questions. And at the same time, Sachin, your biggest learning on building your character, you have already proved it here when you have shared such a vulnerable story where you have failed as a leader. So it's not everyone who can come up and say on stage and say, "Look, I did this, and this is my failure." Truly inspiring there.
It requires a lot of courage.
Yes, it requires a lot of courage. So, a role model here. Thank you, Sachin, for that again. So,
Thank
let's now move on to someone who has been here with Sachin. His name is Manish Pandit. Manish is a digital creator, marketer, content writer, specialized in SEO friendly writing with a background in sales and customer service spanning over almost 20 years. He has been managing the social media, website, thumbnails, and even video editing for the Be Your On Boss podcast. So, Manish, you have been working very closely with Sachin, and we are really eager to hear your question that will surely shed light on your entrepreneur journey also. Please go ahead, Manish.
Thank you so much, Bharat, for giving me this opportunity. First of all, let me thank you all because since I normally edit the videos and thumbnails for Sachin, I have seen the unedited version of your interviews and I have learned a lot from these kind of these interviews. Okay, and similar question I have for Sachin, you as well. You have just told your failure story, your learnings. What have you learned from these entrepreneurs? What have you learned from these interviews? And how you're going to use that in your life ahead? That is what my question is.
Thank you, Manish. That's a deep question and a very interesting question. And among all the entrepreneurs that I interviewed, I'm trying to find that a common thread, right? And I'm trying to stitch a fabric of a story together here, a fabric of a strategy together here, and this is what I've learned, and I'm gonna try and put that in a few bullet points as how we can how we take our step towards entrepreneurship. And this is for the listeners, for the audience here who are at a job and would like to start their entrepreneurship journey. This I'm summarizing my learning from all these episodes that I've done so far, that when you are about to start your journey on the entrepreneurship path, okay, you have to decide whether you want to start a business that is capital intensive or idea based. Okay, these are the two different kind of businesses that you can start: capital intensive or physical asset businesses, like opening a restaurant or opening a salon, or or setting up a hotel. These are physical actual businesses, physical products, which are capital intensive. It requires a lot of capital. So if you're going down this path, then what I've learned from all the episodes here is that to start a business you need that a big chunk of capital, but you need to take that lump sum amount that you have, figure out how you can bring that lump sum amount, and take that lump sum amount that you have and break it into three parts. One third of it you have to keep it as reserve for a rainy day. Okay, this has to be your reserve. and don't touch that, because in case things go wrong and you need to close the business, you also need a lot of money to close the business, and you'll need this money, so you just keep that money aside as a reserve. The second third, you use it for running your family until the business picks up. Okay, so that's the second third, and the third, one third of it, you use that to invest in your as a capital. So only start a business that you can run with that one third of the money that you have. So you decide what kind of businesses that can work and only start from that. And if you're now going back to the first bullet point here, is that if the capital intensive business, the second type of business is the idea based business. And if you're starting with an idea based business, do not quit your job immediately. Continue your job and hustle along the side. So while you're continuing your job, you also spend hours in your other business, in your idea based business, to build it to a point where it can start generating revenue, and then quit your job. So there have been these two different scales or different kinds of entrepreneurs that I've noticed, and this is based on that. This is what I've noticed here, that you work on your idea based business until the point where it starts generating enough revenue that you can quit your job. This is one of the learnings that I have had, having interviewed all you entrepreneurs here.
Thank you, Sachin.
So next, I'm going to, first of all, these insights are truly valuable. One third, keep whatever your seed fund is, one third keep for bad times to close the business, one third for the family expenses, and one third only use that one third for the business and choose a business which can work on that one third. So truly valuable. And then again, I love that when you say any idea based business, keep working, put extra effort, maintain your job and your idea, unless you reach a stage where you can have that seed capital to look after you for whatever gestation period you plan, for whatever downturn you may have for closing that business, or at the same time, whatever investment you want to do. Say, if you want to have 2 years. So, a very valuable insight there from Sachin. Let's start by inviting Shelly Bowman. She lives in Hong Kong, same as I also live in Hong Kong, and she's a coach, podcaster, and a renewable conscious business strategist with a diverse background ranging from web design to scuba diving. And I'm going to pick you up for that. Shelly brings a unique perspective to the table. Shelly, stage is yours for your question.
Thank you, Bharat, and thank you for your introduction. And Sachin, it was an amazing pleasure doing the interview with you, and I love that I get to answer the question or ask the questions now. So I had two, but they were from our discussions, and one of them, the first one, should be fairly short, but you talked about a very unique way of learning how to use computers. And you were working somewhere, and there was one person who was using a computer. And can you just tell us how you did that? I thought that was so genius.
Thank you, Shelly, for that question. It brings back memories. And I'm going to answer this and tell you this incident that happened, and how I learned computers right from the beginning. Let me take you back to Mumbai. It's a rainy day, and inside a garment factory, there is this computer operator sitting tired from working late hours. The office boy brings coffee and says, "Sir, while you have your coffee, can I type that letter for you?" And this office boy was me. I was the one wanting to learn computers. I was a my I didn't have the capacity to it was not my job to work on computers, right? But I was an office boy. My job was to I was labor work and to bring coffee and move papers around and things. But I used to make coffee for this computer operator, and I used to do that work for him. So he used to just tell me, okay, you have to type this letter, and I used to just type that letter. That's how I got my hands on a computer, and I understood how to learn computers. I learned how to operate computers. I have to just type in, and with that, I could, now that I knew how to enter data into a computer, my next job was data as a data entry operator at Max Touch, which later became Orange, and we used to enter data into the computers by like look at the application forms and enter the data. This was a data entry job. Now I moved from an office boy to a data entry operator, and from there, every stage of my life, wherever I got a chance, I could learn different things. I learned in computers, to the point that today I write programs, and I'm an app developer. I write, I create dashboards. I'm a data analyst by profession. So this is, it has brought me a long way. The whole point was the thirst for learning, and irrespective of the situation around, wherever I got a chance, I learned.
Thank you. I have one more question. When we were talking a lot about impacts because both of us, we want to make a positive impact on the world. And one time, one thing that you had mentioned was there was a time you got on the train and you were hungry. You only had 10 rupees and you bought some food and it was bad, so you went hungry. And then you were saying that that drove you to want to go to a place where you could feed people. And I just wanted to know, because we didn't really flesh that out. How have you played that out in your life, and how have you taken that point, that nadir or low point, and taken something positive out of that?
Yeah, so this is an incident when I was traveling in a train. I had no money. I had like literally 10 rupees with me in my pocket, and this it was a very low point of my life, and and I was hungry. I didn't have food for the last a day, and so my only chance was when the train stopped at a station, um, and the and I asked how much is the food. I mean, there was this vendor selling food, and he said there was a food packet for 10 rupees, and 10 rupees is all I had. So I said, okay, here's my last 10 rupees, so let me just buy the food. I bought the food. The train left the station, and now when I opened the food, it was stale. So now I couldn't eat it. And I didn't have any more money to buy anything else, so I had to go hungry. When I looked at that stale food with tears in my eyes, I promised myself that today I'm in a situation where I can't even eat. So I don't have enough money to even eat. But rather than having anger or frustration towards the world, my thought at that time was that I promised myself I'm gonna be so rich that one day I will feed people. And now things changed over time. Now when I'm in a situation where I can feed people, so doing, um, I don't want to talk too much about how I feed people, or because that's not the right thing to do, right? They say that your right hand should not know what your left hand is doing. So I would rather not talk too much about it. But all I would like to say is that God has been kind. That today I'm in that situation where I'm able to fulfill my promise.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. These are past experiences, past learnings which motivate, and in itself, by motivating others to by sharing your own story, you can always bring back value to the society. Shelly, thanks for these insightful, really bringing those defining moments in Sachin's past, which he does not speak about, and which are so important and which bring value to all the youngsters, all the people who are facing challenges in life. Keep that positive attitude. And with this, let's move on to our next question. And next question will be from Meenakshi ji. Meenakshi, the founder of Educatia, and she started a remarkable journey from being a software professional to following her passion for education and becoming a successful teacher and entrepreneur. Meenakshi shares valuable insights on how mother can strike a balance between family and business, setting a great example for all women entrepreneurs. Let's go to Meenakshi ji for her question to Sachin.
Thank you so much once again. Very good to hear all this. After my after my interview with Sachin took, I said this to him. Thank you so much because I never felt till then that all this did we do really, or is somebody noticing all this? So I really feel I have to first thank him. I have a lot of gratitude, and I really have to thank him for doing my interview. And my question is, who is your dream person whom you wish to interview, Sachin?
Thank you, Meenakshi. That's a good question. I would like to interview. There's not just one person. There are a lot of people, but the first person that the top person that I can think of is Mr. Yusuf Ali, the founder of Lulu. And for those of you who are not in Dubai, Lulu is a huge group here of hypermarkets and supermarkets. And Mr. Yusuf Ali is the founder of Lulu hypermarkets and supermarkets, and he has started his own journey here in Dubai. And I'd love to interview him. I'd love to interview Mr. Bengati. Bengati is a real estate company here in Dubai, and they've built wonderful buildings, beautiful buildings here. I would love to interview Mr. Bengati as well. So yeah, those are the people that I would love to interview on my show.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Sachin, and best wishes. Let all these
Thank you.
interviews happen soon.
Thank you.
Meenakshi ji, yes. Dream what we dream, whom we will interview. So, with this, let me invite my colleague at Entrepreneur Connect, my friend, my fellow entrepreneur, Anupama Pakarji from 4C. Anupama has been a visionary in her whatever she does, and she's founder of 4C Integrated Communications with a decade of experience serving SMEs and solopreneurs. Anupama has become an expert in providing offsite marketing solutions for businesses that may not have the budget for a dedicated marketing department. Her company, 4C Integrated Communications, has been instrumental in helping small and medium sized enterprise thrive through strategic marketing efforts. Today, we have the privilege of Anupamaji's inspiring journey, and she will come on stage to ask her next question. Over to you, Anupamaji.
Good morning, beautiful people, boys and girls. And thank you, Bharatji, for that wonderful introduction. Sachin, I know for ages. Sachin Acharya was just a name in my phone book. Once in a networking event, I got to shake hands with him, and that name in my phone book got a face. But one morning in the desert, I got to know the person behind that face, the character, the personality, and what he does and why he does what he is doing today. And that name in my phone book got respect, immense respect for the concept that he has developed with Be Your Own Boss podcast. As I went through that one morning, there were so many things that I got to know that not only built up that respect for him, but also immense gratitude what happened after that one morning. He actually built my brand instead of his own. So thank you very much, Sachin, for that. I have just one question for you, and the next one will follow if you give the right answer. My question to you is, what is the trade secret? What is the marketing strategy behind Be Your Own Boss podcast? Over to you, Sachin.
Thank you, Anupama, for that wonderful question. What is the secret behind or the strategy of the marketing strategy of Be Your Own Boss? Well, first of all, I'd like to start with thanking all of you, because if not for you, your stories, Be Your Own Boss podcast wouldn't have existed. It's your stories that make the episodes special. Each one of you have a wonderful story. So in marketing, they say, right, like, I mean, you can reach out to many people, but then at the end of the day, it's the content that matters. So the content comes from you, each one of you, your stories. And I would like to thank Manish Pandit here, because he has supported immensely in in spreading the word. He has created, I mean, he's not just a friend, he's not just a colleague, he's also a guide to me. He tells me when I'm going wrong, he tells me, corrects me when I'm going wrong, and he also goes over above and beyond the a normal what a marketing person would do. Right? He takes full responsibility, full control over things. Like, he created my website. Okay, he told me first that, Sachin, you must have a website, and I said, yeah, okay. And then the next thing he told me that, look at this, I've built a website for you. Here it is. And then I saw the website. Then he keeps asking me that, have you checked your website? Because he checks it every day. He keeps it updated every day. So in the marketing, from a marketing perspective, he does the fantastic job of keeping the website alive and always updated. The latest episodes are always up there. The links are always up there. And from my side, what I try to do is not to leave any stone unturned. Every single uh, social media platform, every single platform out there, YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Um, try to post everywhere. So Be Your Own Boss podcast is everywhere around it. Yeah, and yeah, by God's grace, now that the channel is growing, and we're reaching wider people, and I'd like to come back to the content part, where the content is very, very important. It's your stories that make an impact.
Well, I was looking for exactly the same answer. So here's my second question. We as entrepreneurs know that we require support from all, almost everything and everybody. From all aspects, we look at support, and specifically when we are small businesses. So, considering that we are all small businesses in this room today, how can we help you with your business or with your podcast? What kind of help do you require from us as a part of your extended team?
I'd like to request you to, in 3 words, that is, spread the word. Spread the word about Be Your Own Boss podcast, and that, I think, you all have, each one of you have a wide reach, right? So if each one of us, we can spread the word about the podcast, I think will reach here. And the reason for that is not just because we want more views on Be Your Own Boss podcast. The reason for that is, when it reaches a wider audience, the wider the net is spread, uh, the more are the chances that it reaches those individuals who are struggling. And one episode, one story, one line in a single sentence in a story, that has the power to inspire someone and change someone's life. And this happens a lot, right? When we sometimes we read a book, sometimes a single sentence in a book can change our life completely. And I'm hoping that from the episodes we can reach out to many people, and then these lines, these sentences can change lives.
Thank you, Sachin. Now I know, and we all know how to support you. And I think each one of us who you have interviewed would commit to that we will spread the word for be your own boss. Best of luck for all your future endeavors. Over to you,
Thank you
Mr.
so
Bharat.
much, Anupama.
Thank you, Anupama ji. Thank you, Sachin. Let me recap the beautiful question: where do you get content? What is the content? And such a lovely answer. The content is you, the people. And then, as always, Anupama ji is always thinking of how she can help others. And such a beautiful, simple message: spread the word. What Sachin tells us is not for himself, for all of us. Spreading the word for Be Your Own Boss brings value not only to Sachin, to this podcast channel, to everyone who has been involved, and to everyone who would be listening to it. Spreading the word is important. So, before I go on to the next question from the panel, I have a question myself. And this question is come up with the simple notion where we spread the word. Now, when we are, in your opinion, what sets us apart? There are so many entrepreneur focused podcast groups. What sets you apart? What sets the Be Your Own Boss podcast apart from other entrepreneur focused podcast or events? And this will help us spreading the word in the right direction. What is your unique selling point? I would love to know that.
I think the right from the beginning of mankind, okay, and I'm going way back now here. Just zoom out 1,000 times and look at us humans. We've been telling stories. We've been telling stories right from the beginning to that. Storytelling has been the way of sharing knowledge. Uh, in the olden days, during the tribal times, stories were told around a campfire, and people would listen to those stories, and then more stories would be told in those. This is the way of spreading knowledge, and this is a concept that I have adopted here in the Be Your Own Boss podcast. That rather than asking, just superficial questions, it is we tell the story of. So episode of Bharat Nandya is the story of Bharat Nandya. You hear about his childhood memories, you hear about all of those elements, you hear about the family. So when as a story, when you listen to the story, you connect with that person. And like in the case of if for example, if you look at Anupama's episode, by the 20th minute, okay, people already know Anupama from childhood, right? They know the struggles that she had, they know the all the challenges that she had, they know the kind of environment that she had, they know the kind of child she was. Okay, as she stormed into the collector's office and she told that you are sitting here for us, the bold personality. And so when you do this, okay, you're the audience connects with the guest, and the guest becomes the friend. And then everything else that is after that is said, it becomes comes from a close friend, and the guest, the audience is able to internalize it. And this is what I think is a bit different from others. I would actually rather not say that nobody else does it. I would rather encourage other people. I want to invite competition. I want to have more people do it, because the purpose is not just my channel to grow. The purpose is that we want to spread the word about entrepreneurship, and we want to encourage more people to start businesses. So that purpose can be achieved not by one person alone. It can be achieved when a movement is started. So this is that movement that we're starting with.
Wonderful, Sachin. Wonderful. Stories. That is the base of Be Your Own Boss podcast. What do we do? When we spread the word, put small stories from our past or listen to the podcast of others and catch those stories which you carry forward. Your words, recognizing the efforts and the stories, would bring value and spread the word that this podcast brings stories to you. And with stories, we bring value to all the listeners. So let me take a pause. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, three people have missed their podcast number. So let me repeat here. Anupama ji was on podcast number 37. Meenakshi ji was on podcast number 38. Let me invite someone from episode 25, Ronald Oliveira, the founder of Zillion Pathways Coaching Institute. Ronald shares his inspiring story of how he transitioned from working in the oil and gas industry to becoming an entrepreneur and creating an institute that is shaping the future of education. Over to you, Ronald, for your question to Sachin.
Thank you, Bharatji, for inviting me to ask a question. Good morning, Sachin. Good morning, all the panelists, I would call. Uh, it's always challenging when you get a chance after all the stalwarts have spoken, especially somebody like Anupama. Generally, our chemistry matches, and the moment I saw Anupama got a chance before me, I knew that she would ask the question which is in my mind, and it happened exactly the same. Okay. Anyway, no problem. I'll twist the question a little bit, Sachin. Uh, yes, again, as Meenakshi also said, it's a platform for us to spread our views across the people so that they will be encouraged. At the same time, we will get some business because we are in an industry where we need people to come and give us. I mean, I probably wouldn't call it a business. I mean, we probably can say a coaching institute or something. It is a service, but let's accept the fact it is a service combined with business. Okay, that is what kind of industries we are in. Now, in the same line, Sachin, my question to you is: you have started a very nice initiative with this podcast, and yes, your main motto is definitely to spread the word, and more people will come and become first generation entrepreneurs. All great, but somewhere deep. Okay, are you thinking beyond it? There's nothing wrong if you have been thinking about it. My question, straight question to you, is that you are talking about Yusuf Ali sir, you are talking about all top businessmen. Someday, definitely you are going to interview them. But while you do that, maybe you will get a break where somebody like Yusuf Ali sir, or even tomorrow, if you decide to interview Mukesh Ambani or someone of that stature, if you change your principle a little bit from what originally you are thinking about. So when that happens, and if you get an opportunity, to be, you never know. I mean, to be an advisor of Mukesh Ambani, for example, in whatever you are good at. Okay, would you be still taking it, or you would continue that? No, no, I have started with the principle, and I will go with that. I would still do this kind of social service.
Thank you, Ronnie Bhai, for that question. And I think it is the opportunities that come our way, okay, that shape our lives. And when I started, if I can go back to my childhood, okay, when things were not very good around me, and like I was saying that I was always looking forward to that one bright day. I did not have a clear idea of what exactly I will become, or what I will be doing or what my profession will be. Right? All I wanted was to work towards that one bright day, and I kept working towards having that in mind. Every opportunity that came my way, I took that opportunity and gave it a positive twist. Like when I was working as an office boy, there was I was packing carton boxes once, and right next to me there was a group of people who were sitting and trying to draft an email, and they were drafting this email in English, but they were discussing in Hindi, and they were drafting this email in English. Now, I realized that they were making some mistakes in that. Now, as an office boy, I took up the courage and went and spoke to them, and I said that, and I spoke in English to them, and they were first of all surprised that an office boy is coming and talking to us in English, and then I told them what that I had drafted the entire email in my head, and I recited that entire email to them and said, "This is what your email should be up to the client." They were talking about if there is a delay in the shipment and so on. So, and then that bold step gave me the opportunity, and they said that, why don't you join the, let's, I think we should promote him and let's let him work on bigger projects. They put the guy in the wrong place, and that gave me opportunities of, they sent me to different places in India to set up offices, and I ended up doing a lot of work, bigger projects for that company. So when opportunities strike, when opportunities come, obviously depending on the nature of it, I will take that as things forward. So as far as the purpose of this, the Be Your Own Boss podcast is concerned, this is very clear to me that what I want to do here is encourage entrepreneurs, encourage growth, and I'm creating content here. Right? By bringing in all these stories, a collection of stories in this, and the content lives forever on the social media platform today. So yeah, as opportunities come, yeah, I think God will lead the path.
Thank you, Sachin. There was a reason why I asked this question, because I know a very close friend of mine. He also started something similar, not exactly. I mean, you have a lot of principles here, like you have a clear goal what you want to achieve by creating content. But what happened was, that person, I don't want to name, he also started taking interviews about the less known entrepreneurs. I mean, not necessarily entrepreneurs, less known community leaders. Okay, and he gave the interviews, and it so happened that the people got publicity, and those who got publicity supported him in such a way that today he is one of the biggest businessmen. Okay, and his principle was simple. He was giving publicity to the less known people who have done a lot of work. Okay, and on that ground I asked this question, and there is absolutely nothing wrong if you grab an opportunity, and we wish that you get an opportunity and become a very big consultant to some consultant or a great entrepreneur, and that time we can say this person in our interview. Thank you. May that happen, Sachin.
Thank you so much, Oliver.
Well, Ron, you have opened some questions which have come again to my mind. As Sachin has emphasized the importance of seizing opportunities, even in seemingly small roles, and utilizing them to make a positive impact, very, very inspiring perspective. Sachin, I would like to ask you here, what has been the most rewarding aspect of hosting the Be Your Own Boss podcast for you personally? And as the host of this successful podcast, what advice would you give to someone who's considering starting their own podcast or a media marketing channel?
I'd like to answer, bring 2 points here on the most the most rewarding thing what for me on this one, and one of them is sitting right here amongst us, Meenakshi. Meenakshi told me when we did the podcast, she told me that before doing this interview, she was not she didn't feel confident that she can come on the camera and speak, and now she's confident, she's coming and talking, and she said that having come on the show has made a difference in her life. So I believe that I felt really honored that doing an episode interviewing her made a difference in her life. And another person that made such a comment here was when I was attending a networking meeting. I had there was a guest who came in and said that other people introduced themselves as the founder of their businesses, and then this person came in and said that I'm here because of Sachin's Be Your Own Boss podcast. I have watched his episodes and I have inspired by that. I have started my own business of real estate, and that's why I'm here now. So that when so the bottom line is, when we see that you can make an impact in someone's life, that I think is the biggest reward for me.
Correct. Impacting someone's life is really what brings value to our own selves. The satisfaction we get is something which cannot be just measured by words. Now, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to welcome our next questionnaire, interviewer, Sumit Puri. Let's invite him to the stage. He is founder of Prana Wellness AI and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to our discussions. With an MBA from IIM Bangalore and over 20 years of corporate experience, Sumit has embarked on a remarkable entrepreneurial journey focused on natural wellness. His company utilizes the power of AI to help corporations improve the health and well being of their employees. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Sumit Puri as he asks his next question, and this will be the final question from the panel to Sachin.
Thank you so much, Bharatji, for the introduction. And again, a big thank you to you, Sachin. You've been absolutely an amazing, amazing person, to kind of connect with. And I again, want to just mention that I met you in one of the networking events, and I clearly could see the passion and the intention. Because more than anything else, it is about the intent that we actually have to help people, to inspire people. That resonated so amazingly, and I must say you have done, amazing service to all of us, to all the entrepreneurs. So again, a big thank you to you. Really speaking, I must say, when we talk about when you talk about selflessness, and I mean, you actually shared it with your stories. The fact that you had that incident in the train when you could have turned the other way and blamed the environment, blamed the person, but you chose to take the bright side, to look at the bright side, to look at something really very meaningful, to actually convert it to the better, have a bigger mission, have a purpose. So I just would like to know more about who your role model has been, and if there's and why. Just, if you can just help us also understand how those amazing motivations, how those amazing things come, which have helped you inspire millions, and hopefully will help inspire even hundreds of millions, as we go forward. So thank you, and please do share your thoughts around this.
Thank you, Sumit, for that question. And I think when it comes to role models, um, and I said models, role models, because there is not just one, and there have been many role models. Because depending on from different at different stages of life, you see and you get inspired from many people. Um, the My first role model was Mr. Rajan that I mentioned, who gave me that line of "Look forward to that one bright day." Rajan is a relative of mine, was a relative of mine, passed away a few years ago, and Rajan was a role model, and to the point that he was a role model for many kids, us in that group, and I used to hear kids saying that when I grow up, I want to become Rajan. That's how inspiring he was. He came to Mumbai with just one pair of extra clothes, and that's it. And he built his own empire here in Mumbai. And because of that, he was a role model for many. And for me, the big it was not just I want to become Rajan. I want to take inspiration from what he has said, and then grow beyond. And I inspire. I'm deeply inspired by Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. He's 80 plus right now, and he still worships his work. He works so hard, and I think that is super inspiring for me. That you keep working, keep because hard work is the most important strength that you can have. So this is one of the reasons why I admire Mr. Bachchan. I admire Bharatji for the same reason. He's always his curiosity always wants to learn something new, always wants to improve himself and keep and try and help connect people. So there are these several different qualities and different people that inspire me, and I find them as my role model.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure knowing about that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, G. And thank you, Sachin. Choosing a role model like Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, who continues to inspire and work at this age, fuels our own motivation to push our limits and achieve greatness. Thank you so much for that. Now, let me move on to my final question to you. How do you see the future of the Be Your Own Boss podcast? And what would you like to share with the listeners of your own of this podcast on this special 50th episode?
Thank you, Bharatji, for that question. I'd like to. So there are two questions here, and I'd like to answer the first one first, which is what do I see as the future of Be Your Own Boss podcast? I see the future in terms of the impact. I see that I see a day very clearly in my mind. I see a day when I receive messages, the team receives messages, the Be Your Own Boss podcast team receives messages of thanks and gratitude saying that, inspired by Be Your Own Boss, that people have started their businesses and they're thriving, and the economy grows because of small businesses. So let me zoom out a little bit and talk a little bit about the purpose of Be Your Own Boss. And I think this is the point that we didn't touch upon yet. That at a higher level, okay, when we look at economy, when we look at the developed economies of the world, like the US, the UK, in Europe, and when we look at the developing economies, one, there is a very clear positive correlation between the ease of doing business and the growth of the economy. When in the US, there is it's very easy to start a business, and there are a lot of small entrepreneurs, businesses, SMEs starting their businesses, and when businesses are started, they create employment opportunities, and this is important because as the businesses grow, the economy grows. Look at India in the last 20 years. The ease of business has gone up, and along with that, the number of entrepreneurs have gone up, number of SMEs have gone up. And when this happens, it creates a larger employment opportunities, and it creates it grows the economy. So this is the reason why I want to encourage more businesses to start. And the future I see here is that the podcast and many such podcasts like Be Your Own Boss, many such channels come up and encourage people, and many such SMEs start the business, and the economy develops. And your second question, what was your second question again? I forgot.
My second question was the final question. What would you want your listeners to take away from?
Yeah.
What message you will share with them on this milestone 50th episode to your listeners?
Sure. I would start that one message. If you can just take back one single word, I would summarize everything into one word. And that is hard work. Hard work. And if I can go back and back that with a story here. When we were in school, we used to sing songs, patriotic songs, as part of school, and there was one particular song, and there was one line in a song. The song is called "Hum Hindustani," and that translates to "We Indians." Okay, and this is picturized on late Mr. Sunil Dutt, "Hum Hindustani," and the song in that, and the one particular line in that that said that "आओ मेहनत को अपना ईमान बनाएं, सपनों से भी प्यारा हिंदुस्तान बनाएं." That one line, it kind of stayed in my heart always. Let's make, and that line says, आओ मेहनत को अपना ईमान बनाएं. Let's make hard work as our religion, right? Take hard work as a religion. And I was, when I was looking for jobs, that there were situations that I was not a graduate, right? Like I mean, I did not complete my after my grade 12, I couldn't study further, so I was not as qualified as the other people. I didn't have I couldn't speak as English as better, as well as the other people. So there were a lot of things that I couldn't dress as well as the other people because I didn't have money. So a lot of things that I lacked. But I said there is one point where I will be the best, and that is hard work. I can guarantee, because this is 100% in my control. What I get is not in my control, but how much hard work I put in, how much effort I put in is 100% in my control, and I will put in 200% of my efforts. And that's been my way of working, and that's why I said that hard work. This is one message, one word that I would like people to take away.
Well, I can vouch for that. Sachin is really a hard worker. He works throughout the week. I am 4 hours ahead of him, and weekends are very busy for my personal life. We did almost 3 sessions, and he was so keen. He's get up at 4 o'clock, and my time is 8 o'clock to catch me before I go to my work on weekends, my family time. So I can vouch for the hard work. So again, I can say whatever Sachin says, he means it. He shows it. And this is how it's not by speaking on a podcast channel, do hard work. People will start doing hard work. What we do inspires other. And I am truly inspired by Sachin's hard work. So a very good ending message from Sachin. Moving on to conclude this momentous milestone episode. I extend my deepest gratitude to each of you. Your engagement, thought provoking questions, and unwavering support have made this gathering remarkable. We have not been able to put our host in any discomfort. It came naturally to him, although he was on the hot seat. Unveiling this journey behind the Be Your Own Boss podcast, his dedication and genuine curiosity have sparked continuous, countless aha moments. Thank you. Thank you, dear Sachin, for amplifying our voices and guiding our growth. And as we move forward, let's carry the inspiration gained, supporting and uplifting one another. Together, we are unstoppable, destined for success. So, fellow entrepreneurs, until we meet again, continue pushing boundaries and pursuing our passions. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, so that was Sachin Acharya, the founder of the Be Your Own Boss podcast. And you have been watching and listening to Be Your Own Boss.
Thank you so much, Bharatji.